The brain is very particularly dependent on nutrition because this organ is 2 pounds in weight, and yet it consumes 20% of circulating oxygen, glucose, and other nutrients. And so, if you like, I describe the brain as a nutrient hog. It's using up 10 times more, it's 10 times more metabolically active. So where there's a shortfall in diet, and where that plate contains stripped down ersatz food, then of course the brain is going to be one of the first places that's affected. And now we can see from studies that particularly depriving the developing brain in utero of nutrients is leading to lifelong health problems, mental health and physical health.
One of the problems is the scale of food processing, and many people think in terms of grains and sugars and how they have been processed. There's an interesting historical element here in that the ancient Romans knew more about grain processing than people did up until the early part of the 20th century. That knowledge had been lost for almost 2 millennia. We've caught up, and we've probably superseded what the Romans had done in terms of not just refining grains, refining sugars, refining and creating all sorts of artificial fats. And most people, unless they are very mindful of what they are eating, are basically eating in this sea of junk food. The solution is really very simple, and I can't claim credit for the idea, but it's basically going back to fresh foods, avoiding almost anything that comes in a bottle, jar, can, or box.
These processed foods bring about inflammatory conditions, and these inflammatory conditions are associated with all of the problems that we have today, including psychiatric conditions, neurological conditions, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and so on.
And I believe that the pharmaceutical companies do see nutrient therapy and the use of supplements and the whole orthomolecular approach as being a bit of a competitor, and so that's part of it. There's also a kind of orthodoxy or a belief in the medical school training that anything that has to do with nutrition is always going to border on quackery. Matter of fact, I was told during medical school, any doctor that prescribes a vitamin, by definition, is a quack.